Why is Jack Ma going to Hollywood? What does Alibaba get out of it?
In the near term, Emily, Alibaba has a set-top box business, and in fact, they already have a JV relationship with Lionsgate that allows them to stream content back to their customers in China. But this is more than just the near term, I think. So, again, by going out to more studios, he can theoretically get more content and offer that content in a variety of different services with Alibaba. Over the long term, I would not be surprised if Alibaba eventually decided to invest directly in U.S. companies, just like we've seen from SoftBank. Alibaba's M&A strategy to this point has been to take small stakes in companies, and so we'll have to see whether that continues to be the strategy or if they make an even larger investment in a U.S. film studio.
Now, Gordon, anyone who's lived in China, including myself, knows you can buy pirated DVDs, pirated material for less than $1. You can get movies before they even come out in the United States. Why would Alibaba be bothering with this?
I think this is very important for Alibaba. If you look at consumption in China, and you look at not the retail sales number from the government, which includes government procurement and unsold inventory, but if you look at the actual retail sales, you can see that they're flat. And although Alibaba's e-commerce business will take a bigger share of retail sales, nonetheless, it's going to be limited by the long-term potential of consumption in China, which I think is in real trouble. So this is very important for Alibaba because it's getting into a whole new line of business where there is amazing potential. So that's the most important thing for him. But the one thing he has to worry about is government regulation, because they are trying to limit the number of foreign TV shows and movies that are streamed in China. And there was a regulation recently dropping the requirement from 50 to 30% of shows that can be seen as foreign.
Cory, what do you see as more valuable to Alibaba, the right to distribute this content in China or investing in U.S. studios directly, potentially?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the growth of movies in China, the theatrical film business, is huge. It's over 30% this year, which is, think of it another way, the revenues in movies this year in China are already equal to last year's, and we're only in October, September.
It's really hard to get a ticket to a popular U.S. movie in China. It's hard.
So that's the second point. So the biggest movies in China are U.S. movies. The best selling movie in China that most tickets sold was Transformers. The most recent X-Men movie was the #3 movie in China this year. So you see the U.S. studios creating content that's really hot in China that sees 30% year-over-year revenue growth is the kind of numbers that Alibaba likes and gets attractive to them. There's also really, I think, not a lot of competition in the streaming market there. There's an officially sanctioned streaming site called M1905 in China, and that's sort of the biggest distribution platform online, and there's a big deal there. One wonders if Alibaba, with its close relationship with the government in China, might be able to offer a competitor.
Alibaba has a set-top box of its own, Gordon. Do you know how successful that set-top box has been?
Well, I think it's early days for them, so I don't think that it's, they start to get that content, which is that July deal with Lionsgate, which is certainly going to help because Hunger Games and Mad Men are popular. So they still got a long way to go in China. But, any type of deal that they do going forward is really going to be very important because Jack Ma doesn't do something unless he thinks he can get the approvals for it back in China. So this may be an indication that the television censors are actually going to loosen up. And that would be very good news for Hollywood and for Jack Ma.
Now, Alex, Alibaba made a $1.2 billion investment in China's version of YouTube. What businesses more specifically might they be interested in the United States? Could it be a Hulu or even a Netflix?
It's a great question, Emily. I think the entire U.S. investment banking world is focusing in on that because when you have a company that has $25 billion in cash on its balance sheet, they're going to put it to work. From what I have heard, they are looking at a variety of different industries, going potentially e-commerce companies, potentially other U.S. digital media assets or film studios, or maybe even social media assets. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Alibaba beginning to take stakes in all of those industries.